Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today we are going to talk about how your climate has changed. Past tense has occurred. Not some future thing that's going to occur, not something that you can't see, not something that you can't feel, but how it has happened already. And now we have something that a whole lot of people all over the United States are going to see. So it's no longer just some liberal talking point. If you garden, you are familiar with something called a hardiness zone. USDA has a map, and it's divided up into zones. It's a map of the U.S., and each area is part of a zone. That zone is like a recommendation on what types of plants and veggies and fruit you can grow in your area. They just redid it. Odds are your hardiness zone has changed. Overall, on average, it's about 2.5 degrees warmer across the country. This will alter what kinds of plants you can grow. Now, for those who are really familiar with climate change, understand that 2.5 degrees is not the same 2.5 degrees. The numbers used to come up with hardiness zones have to do with like the coldest night every 30 days, or there's a lot of numbers into how they average it out. So it doesn't actually mean that the climate has increased 2.5 degrees over the last 10 years or so. So that's good news. But the bad news is that it shows, it certainly appears to be moving that way. This is probably something that you can use to talk to people who are skeptical, to talk to people who say, oh, well, it's not real. It's not really having an effect. No, it is. So much so that your friend who gardens, well, they're going to have to change what they grow. On the upside, it does explain why I haven't been able to grow tomatoes. But this is a widely available thing that people are familiar with. More importantly, this is something that a lot of conservatives are familiar with. A lot of people who would be skeptical, this is something you can show them. You can show them last year's map of the hardiness zones and this year's map, and you can show them the difference. And there are some areas where it is dramatic. In some places, it's a shift, but in some places, you can grow tropical plants now in places that you probably wouldn't expect to. That's something that you might want to keep in mind when you're having these conversations. If the person gardens, if the person is even remotely involved in agriculture, you have something that you can show them. And it might make an impact. Because sadly, while the climate does not care how we feel about it, climate mitigation, there needs to be more people calling for it. But for that to happen, more people have to believe in it. More people have to understand that it's occurring and that it will impact them. It's no longer future tense. It is impacting you. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.